Looks like I wore the right shirt tonight. All right, hi. Let me see. Woo! Justin Bieber. Okay. How many people out here? Hi, thank you. Hi. How many people out here have ever written a fan letter to somebody? Right? A celebrity, an actor, sports star, singer, right? A writer, right? When you're younger, Punky Brewster. Anyone write to Punky Brewster? New Kids on the Block, or NKOTB, as I like to be called, right? Johnny Depp. Anybody? Johnny Depp. Who did you write to? Who? Anyone? Jonathan Brandis. All right. Who else? Gene Kelly. Gene who? When he was alive. When he was alive, I hope. No. Anybody else? Oprah. Oprah. Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you. Well, when I was a kid, I did that too. I did that a lot. In fact, I was that kid that wrote to celebrities, that sometimes asked for their autograph. But more often than not, I just wanted to chat. Like, hey, how are you? How's Hollywood? Where is 21 Jump Street, and how can I get there? I was a strange kid, or rather, I was a strange gay kid. Ever since I was really small, I was obsessed with celebrities, movie stars. At age 11, I was a champ. That's not me. At age 11, I was a champion Trivial Pursuit player, the silver screen edition, right? I played in tournaments, I won a trophy. But I would also embarrass my sisters and my family by spouting out obscure movie trivia like, did you know Greer Garson's Academy Award speech went on for 5 minutes and 30 seconds? Or did you know that there have been 23 actors who have played the role of Tarzan since 1918? I mean, these are the things that I knew, the things I used to say all the time. And for some reason, I thought everyone, had these little bits of trivia inside their head. I thought everyone knew this stuff. When I was about 11 or 12, I began to send letters to celebrities. But let me give you some context here. Picture the years 1978 to about 1983, 84. I know some of you might not have been born yet, but next, picture me with blonde feathered hair, no receding hairline, my skin baby smooth, that peaches and cream complexion. Anyway, it's not unusual for people to write letters to typical celebrities of the day, right? Like Alyssa Milano from Who's the Boss, right? Or remember her workout video, Teen Steam? Anyone remember that? I mean, Teen Steam? Who was her agent, Who was advising her on these things? Teen Steam, right? Or Ricky Schroeder, remember Silver Spoons? Right? Hubba, 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 right? Or the cast of Different Strokes, especially Todd Bridges and Dana Plato. I mean, Dana Plato, God, she was like the perfect sister, And speaking of sisters, one of my sisters wrote a fan letter to Andy Gibb. He was that really hot singer, Shadow dancing, remember? You might be too young. I even knew someone in Cub Scouts who wrote a letter to Chuck Norris, right? He later grew up to be gay also. But so yes, lots of people write fan letters, but the thing is, I wasn't like lots of people, and I wasn't writing to the typical celebrities. When my friends were writing letters to bands like Duran Duran, or singers like, these great singers like Bobby Brown or Debbie Gibson, the really big stars, right? Come on, she wrote her own songs. Anyway, when my friends were writing to these really cool singers, I was writing to singers like Mel Torme. And not the young, svelte, effeminate Mel Torme, who from the 1940s and 50s. We're talking about the liver-stained, jowly, triple-chinned Mel Torme. The Mel Torme who was headlining in Laughlin, Nevada. That Mel Torme. That's who I was writing letters to. But then there were the TV actresses. Most guys were writing to Suzanne Summers, Farrah Fawcett, right? Woo! Yeah. Or Christy McNichol. Oh, wait, we all know how that turned out. But the actresses I was writing to were more like Jane Wyman. Jane Wyman? We all, right? Everyone you've heard of her, right? She was married to Ronald Reagan in the 1940s. She won an Oscar for playing a deaf mute in Johnny Belinda in 1948. See, that trivia just comes out like Tourette's. She was a glamorous, seductive gangster's moll and society wife But when I wrote to her, she was playing Angela Channing, the matriarch of a greedy, scandalous television family. Falcon Crest, right? It was that kind of low rent version of Dynasty or Dallas, right? And it also starred Lorenzo Lamas, right? Enough said. Uh, but I wrote to film actresses too. Not Olivia Newton-John, the typical actress who was starring in Xanadu, but instead I wrote to another blonde actress, a perky, husky voice actress from the 1940s named June Allison. She was in the movie Little Women and tons of MGM musicals. I'm really gay. I'm really gay. Though about the time I was writing her, she was the spokeswoman for Depend Undergarments. Depend Undergarments. But bump, right? Um, the closest I got to writing a fan letter to someone really famous, really cool, was when I drafted a letter that I never sent to Mick Fleetwood of Fleetwood Mac, which was mostly a response to the album cover for Rumors. I mean, what, right? Right? What little gay boy or girl or straight boy, for God's sakes, wasn't enticed or intrigued or felt the first stirring in their loins by seeing the image of Mick Fleetwood in breeches with those two black balls like bowlers dangling, right? And between his legs. I mean, my God, that changed my life. Um, but why was I doing this, right? Why was I writing these letters to these people? I've often asked myself, I like old people, sure, but maybe it's because I've always been deeply rooted in nostalgia, for the past, for days when life was a lot simpler. And change was difficult for me growing up. As a young gay kid, I was experiencing so much change. My body was changing, my voice was changing, my family was changing, divorce, my heart and mind were changing from what I had been raised to believe, that boys belong with girls, that boys played with toy trucks and girls played with dolls, that boys don't fantasize about wanting to kiss other boys. And maybe consuming myself with old near-dead celebrities was a way of holding on to the past and avoiding change. Just like they were holding on to their lives and their careers, right? But maybe I too was looking for some sort of escape. I mean, come on, I was a strange old movie star obsessed queer kid from Santee, you know? Who wouldn't want to escape from there, right? Am I right? Um, and maybe it was living in San Diego, living in Southern California, in the shadow of LA and Hollywood. We're not so far away from that we can almost touch the magic of Hollywood and LA. And if they were that close, maybe it wouldn't be so hard to get there myself, right? To get away from Santee. But one of the last fan letters I wrote was in 1985 to the actor Rock Hudson. You might know who he is or was, right? The strapping, handsome leading man from the 1950s and 60s. The hunk who starred opposite Elizabeth Taylor in the movie Giant, not Elvis. That would have been really interesting, though. And Doris Day and all those sex comedies like Pillow Talk. But the Rock Hudson I wrote to in the summer of 1985 was a very different man. I wrote to him a few days after he came out to the world as not only being a gay man, but also a man with AIDS. This was 1985, and we barely knew what AIDS was. But suddenly, this once manly, robust actor was saying that he had it. And by the photos of him in magazines, it looked like it was killing him. And that was scary. It was scary for everyone in the US and the world, but it was especially scary for a young gay kid like me. Remember, this was before it was cool to be gay, right? It was before Elton John and Melissa Etheridge and Ellen, before Will and Grace, before Adam Lambert, before I kissed a girl and I liked it, It was like I kissed a boy and I got my ass kicked, it really. So it was 1985 in July, and Rock Hudson's picture was in the newspaper. That horrible, horrible picture of him with his protruding cheekbones. The once barrel chest was now sunken. His Adam's apple stuck out like a flesh-colored pebble above the open collar of his button-up shirt. And gone was the handsome man from the movies, and gone, I think, was some of my own naivete, my own innocence. And so I wrote a letter to him. The newspaper said he was at UCLA Medical Center, and so I sent it to him there. I think I just put on the envelope, Rock Hudson, care of UCLA Medical Center, but it got there. And I can't remember the exact words in my letter, but I said something like, I hope you're feeling better soon, and we're all thinking of you. Of course, I was only 15 years old then, so I didn't even realize that what I said, when I said we're all thinking of him, we really were. I mean, boys like me, the gay community, queer people around the world. And a few weeks later, I received a letter from Elizabeth Taylor, that Elizabeth Taylor. At least the stationery said Elizabeth Taylor at the top. And it probably wasn't a personal letter. I don't remember it being, really with her signature, but it was printed probably in bulk. And the letter thanked me for my kind thoughts and concern for her dear friend Rock Hudson. But she also explained that she had started an organization called AMFAR, the American Foundation for AIDS Research. And this was the first organization of its kind. It was then finally that I felt part of something. I was no longer just the strange gay kid who wrote fan letters to old movie stars. I mean, I was still strange and I was still gay, but I had done something important. I felt included, and for the first time in my life, I was included in something bigger, though I didn't know exactly what that bigger thing was. I mean, I knew very little about the gay community. I was 15. Hillcrest to me was a place where every man wore Daisy Dukes and tight tank tops and had a handlebar mustache. Right? Actually, sounds pretty good. But I never thought I would go there or belong there or, walk the streets. Anyway. In October of 1985, Rock Hudson died of AIDS. And when I look back at 1985, I see that I was right there. I was a witness at the start of this devastating time. But it was also a time when the gay community and the lesbian community came together and persevered. And I'm proud to be a part of that strength, a part of that movement, and a part of that community. I wouldn't change or trade any of that, not even for an autographed picture of Lorenzo Lamas. Thank you.
Rob Williams.